What's up, how you doing? It's Skillshot04 here, and today I'm going to be showing you how to improve your aim. Better aim equals more kills, which equals rounds won. So first thing to get started, we're going to talk about your sensitivity. You need to find a sensitivity that's right for you. There's two types of people. There's high sensitivity people and there's low sensitivity people. I'm personally a low sensitivity person. It allows for a greater precision, but at the same time you can't turn as quickly. So you need to figure out if you want to go high sensitivity and be able to do really quick flicks, or if you want to be a low sensitivity player and be able to be really precise at those long distance engagements. It's personal preference, but I would mess around with your sensitivity until you can comfortably do a 180 or around 180, because that's very important in Siege. Alright, now once you have your sensitivity down, we're going to start talking about the modes of practice. So the first way you're going to practice is you're going to practice your flicks. So you can find two spots, let's say right here and right here, and you're going to practice flicking back and forth between them. And as you're flicking back and forth between them, I also recommend moving in that direction, because that's very important in your aiming. So just find two spots on the map, flick to one, flick to the other. You should constantly be shooting. This will improve your flicking ability and be able to hit more consistent shots. This is very important. I would do this for, I don't know, about 5 minutes until you run out of ammo. And this will greatly help you in your games. After you do horizontal flicks, you need to practice vertical flicks. These are a lot harder to practice. So you're going to find two spots again, and you can go horizontal to vertical. This may feel uncomfortable at first and unnatural, but you need to learn how to do it, because on maps where there's stairs or a lot of verticality in play, it's very important that you can be able to naturally flick up and down. Once you can flick side to side and up and down, you're going to do both. So I would aim at a spot at the left or the right, go up, go back down, and just go in a circle like this. This will increase your flicking ability in other areas that may be a little bit awkward. It's not perfectly up or down. It's really great practice. So I would do all this for about 5 minutes. Really great warm up, and it really improves your aim. Once you're done practicing your flick shots, I would load up a T-Hunt. Now you want to do this lone wolf in either normal or hard. Depends on what you want. I would not do a realistic difficulty because it's so hard that it doesn't allow you to learn from your mistakes as much, because you die every single time. And so it's not as forgiving. It's not as good. Practice on normal or hard. Now when you go through T-Hunt, first I would pick an operator with a really good gun with high DPS, such as Ashes, R4C, or Twitch's F2. You're going to go through the map. You're going to be worrying about crosshair placement. So place the crosshair where you think the enemy is going to be. The less amount of space your crosshair has to travel, the less time it's going to take to kill the enemy. This is very important. So when you go through the map, just practice your crosshair placement as you're getting these kills. Aim where you think the enemy is going to be. Now when you're going through the map with the R4C or the F2, you're going to want to practice moving quickly. So you're going to want to be thorough in how you clear, but you're going to want to be quick. So don't take forever when you're peeking and clearing rooms. This is important because it improves the speed at which you can clear stuff while still being semi-efficient. Moving through the map quickly forces you to combat enemies that may surprise you. This is important because in a ranked match, there may be someone that you don't expect to be there, and it'll really shock you, and your aim will be on. And so by moving through the map quickly, you can really learn to take those engagements even when it's really surprising you don't feel like you know what to do. Now the second method you're going to use when practicing T-Hunt is going through the map with a DMR. This is important because it forces you to improve on your first shot accuracy. It doesn't matter how well you can control the recoil if your first shots aren't going to hit and your enemy's first shots are. So if you want to pick a gun like Buck's DMR, and just go through the map, again watching for crosshair placement, be careful with that, and aiming for the head. You want to be very slow and very accurate. And as you go through the map, slowly increase the speed at which you try to get the headshots. Eventually you'll be able to lock onto them pretty much immediately, and your first shot accuracy will be very, very high. When you're going through with the DMR, you really want to watch how you clear rooms. This is very important because you can't just spray down enemies. So it's going to force you to be very careful and methodical in the way that you approach clearing rooms. At this point, since you're not practicing your flick shots as much, I would also practice your peeking, because this is a very important part of aiming. Movement is inseparable from aiming. Not separate the two, they're very closely linked together. I currently don't have a video on how to quick peek and how to clear rooms, so in the meantime I would recommend checking out a channel called Braction. He has a lot of good videos on quick peeking and clearing rooms. It's just some really good stuff, check that out. Once you're done practicing with the DMR, I would recommend practicing with the pistol. This is very important. Not a lot of times, but sometimes in Siege you're going to have to pull out your pistol to finish off the fight. And you're going to want to practice using it, that way it doesn't feel awkward or new. So just run through the map using your pistol, again, using crosshair placement, try to get those headshots. Just like with the DMR and with the R4C, with any other gun, same thing, just practice your pistols. Next up, I would recommend picking an operator like Sledge, who has the option to have a machine pistol as a sidearm, and I would equip his primary weapon with an ACOG and his secondary weapon with a hollow or reflex or whatever, and just work through the map like that. First, try and get some kills with the ACOG, and then try and get some kills with reflex or hollow, the SMP-11. This will force you to be adaptive in your aiming, because you can't get used to just using one or the other. You have to be able to use both efficiently, switching non-stop and not having a chance to really process it. Well, next we're going to talk about movement. We already kind of covered this with peeking, but this is a little bit different. So what I mean by movement is that when you're going to get your kills, you're going to practice your strafing and your crouching. So if say I'm an enemy and someone's trying to shoot, right, and I'm holding this angle, and I just fire like this, I may kill them, but if I miss my shots, I'm pretty easy to kill because I'm a static target. I'm not moving anywhere. But if I'm shooting like this, I'm going to be a lot harder to kill because I'm moving around. So as you go and kill the terrorist, just practice moving around and being dynamic. That way you're a harder target to hit. Number one, this will help you because people will hit you less. Number two, it will help you practice moving and shooting at the same time. It's one thing to hit a target when you're standing still, but it's another thing to hit a target when it's moving and you're moving. If you can master this, you'll be really good at aiming. It'll really help you out in your games. So I highly recommend going through the map in this manner, try and get kills just like that. After doing all of that, I recommend playing Hunt again while practicing your pre-firing. This is very important. A lot of times in Siege you'll get a ton of easy kills just by pre-firing the spots. You don't know if the enemy's there, but if they are, you're gonna kill them. So I would move through the map, visualize the spots that the enemies could be, pre-fire at them. Now there may not be a terrorist there, there's probably not. But if there was a real player there in a real match, you want to be able to know where you have to aim to kill them. Pre-firing is very important in Siege, and you want to practice it extensively. That way it comes naturally to you when you actually hop in the game. You can beat a lot of players that have better raw aim if you just pre-fire them, because they won't have any time to react. So if you know the common spots and you've practiced a lot for where to pre-fire, you're going to win a lot of engagements. Alright, now you have all the tips down how to train. You know what you need to do to get better. The only thing that's left is setting up a routine. A routine is very important. All the tips in the world won't do you any good if you don't practice it continuously and consistently. So I would set up a schedule. It doesn't have to be super often. You know, maybe just 2 times a week, maybe 3, whatever works, and practicing all those methods. First, I would start out with a gun like the R4C or the F2. Like I said, going through the map quickly, trying to take everyone out. Then I would go and practice my flick shots. Like I said, with 2 spots on the map, just going around and around and around until you're comfortable with that. After you're done with that, hop into an R2 hunt with a DMR or a single shot weapon and practicing your first shot accuracy. After that, you know, you could do shotgun, practice peeking, whatever you feel like it. And you don't have to do all those, or you don't have to do them in that order. Whatever you feel like practicing for the day, just go with that, and it'll help you out. Just remember the whole time, practice your crosshair placement, your pre-firing, peeking, movement. Make sure you're being accurate and you're not just spraying all over the place hoping you get the kill. And if you do all those things and you do it consistently with the schedule, you're going to get really good at aiming. You're going to frag out in ranked, and you'll be a god at aim in no time. The last thing I want to talk about is attachments. This comes down to personal preference, but it can really make a difference in your playstyle. Okay, so you're going to want to go into your guns, whichever gun you're using, and there's a lot of different options here, right, for martial attachments. Now, they each mean something else. Now, you can look this up elsewhere where it gives a more extensive version of how it works, but I'm just going to go through it quickly and tell you what each attachment does. That way you know, and you can attach the one that you feel will help you out the most. So every gun in Rainbow Six Siege has two types of recoil, horizontal recoil and vertical recoil, which is represented on the little chart here and down in the right hand corner. A suppressor does nothing for the recoil, so I recommend never running that. Don't even worry about that. A flash hider helps a little bit with the horizontal recoil and a little bit with the vertical recoil. A compensator helps a lot with the horizontal recoil but doesn't do anything for the vertical recoil. And a muzzle brake does a fair amount for the vertical recoil but doesn't do hardly anything for the horizontal recoil. Extended barrel also doesn't do anything. It's kind of like the suppressor, but increases damage at distance. If you find that you're struggling to compensate for vertical recoil, I would recommend using muzzle brake or flash hider. If you feel like you have a pretty good grip on the vertical recoil, then you might want to run compensator. Whatever works for you, whatever floats your boat, whatever you feel like is going to help you the most, run that. For the grips, vertical grip helps with vertical recoil, and angle grips allow you to aim down sight faster. Again, personal preference, whatever you feel like is going to help you. Sights are personal preference as well. Everything really is. Whatever feels most natural to you, that's what you want to use. If you feel like you play really well with holographic, run holographic. If you feel like you like ACOG, you like the zoom on that, run ACOG. If you feel like you like red dot, then run red dot. Run whatever you feel like is going to help you out the most. So that's pretty much it for this. Just remember all the tips I said. If you practice it consistently using all those tips, you should see a noticeable increase in your aiming skills. Hopefully I was helpful, and hopefully I improve your gameplay. So get out there, start fragging, and as always, I'll see you next time.